Call to order the meeting of the Franklin Special School District for Monday, March the 8th. As if we will be led in the pledge. Oh, there she is.
Good evening. I'm Educator, principal here at New York, and I want to welcome you all here this evening. If you'll please stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while we're standing, let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. As always, for our viewing audience, we are socially distanced, so masks may come on and off depending on who is speaking, but just want to let you know that we are practicing all protocols. Recognition of Good News Awards. Do believe we have one. We'll ask Ms. Newman if she would do that for us, please.
I will. This is for the FSSD Student Artist of the Month, Kate Walters. Is Kate here? Do we want to do it without her?
The student artists are now all be recognized in May.
Okay.
As a group, but we are recognized.
Read off of this. Franklin Elementary School kindergartner Kate Walters is the FSSD Student Artist of the Month for March. Kate completed her beautiful masterpiece in art teacher Jennifer Alvado's class. Students learned all about butterflies, see that, and drew them, focusing on making them symmetrical. Designs were added using oil pastels and then painted over with watercolors to create a resist. Once these were painted, students learned about the artist Vincent van Gogh and his technique of painting with little colorful brushstrokes. They explored his famous painting, The Starry Night, and used that as inspiration for painting their background. These cheery butterflies will put a smile on the face of all FSSD employees who are lucky enough to receive a birthday card during the month of March. A special thank you to Sonic for sponsoring the Student Artist of the Month program with a generous $15 gift card. Congratulations to Kate Walters.
Thank you, Robin. If you're so lucky to have a birthday in March, you will be receiving one, so thank you. Next, we have public input. Is there anyone for public input? Seeing no one for public input, we will declare public input has been closed. Reports, presentations, we will start with Dr. Decker.
Good evening, and thank you, sir. This month, in the fourth installment of a continuing series of Get to Know the TNL Team presentations, the TNL Spotlight illuminates Communications Specialist, Mrs. Susanna Gentry. With the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, communication, already a priority, took on even more critical importance as we strive to keep our family, staff, and the community fully informed as to health and safety protocols, scheduling and attendance adjustments, and remote access to instructional resources and other school-related information. Thus, Susanna's efforts with regard to routinely updating the district website in her role as the webmaster are to even more of an extent ongoing and multifaceted. She supervises the individual school webmasters as well. Susanna also coordinates the use of district social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and oversees the FSSD mobile app. As part of this component of her responsibilities, Susanna provides social media training for the faculty of each school and oversees the creation and implementation process of district-approved social media accounts. In a related duty, Susanna maintains a master list of students whose parents have requested Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, otherwise known as FERPA, protections. This relates to situations related to privacy and safety of students by the request of their guardians or family members. When delivering messages to the media, Susanna advises the school board, staff, and school and district administrators. She works with each of these entities or individuals when the need for recurring and/or one-time notifications might arise. For parents, guardians, and faculty members specifically, Susanna composes and sends important district memorandums via the voice, email, and text message components of Blackboard Connect. In further support of Educator staff and administrators, Susanna records and shares through email the minutes of each district advisory committee meeting. In a key communications piece, Susanna assists the safety and attendance supervisor with crisis planning, strategy, and response. Susanna's role in communicating the FSSD story with the immediate community and beyond is far-reaching. She writes articles for school newsletters, district publications, and the website, and she coordinates media interviews. Every year, she plays an integral part in the planning, organization, and coordination of special events and activities such as the annual FSSD retirement celebration, school board recognition awards, Top 40 recognitions, and the Classified Employee Awards, all of which we hope to reinstitute again in person very soon. Please welcome Ms. Gentry as she discusses aspects of her position.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. When I first came to the school district in 1991, there were 5 schools with Moore Elementary's paint still drying, Freedom Middle on the horizon, and Poplar Grove not even on the radar. There was no communications department and certainly no communications specialist. In fact, when I was hired, my job was divided into 3 areas: communication specialist, teacher center facilitator, and assistant to the technology supervisor. While internal and external communication has certainly become easier since 1991, it has also grown into an immense task. The speed in which people want to receive information and the incredible number of ways they choose to receive it is sometimes overwhelming. I am so proud that our district has risen to every communication challenge, employing every asset available to us to connect with our FSSD families. With the saturation of interactive websites, social media, mass notification systems, smartphones, portable devices, and wearable technology, FSSD News reaches homes at the speed of light. Although very difficult, my favorite, and I believe the most impactful part of my job of school communications is the emergency communications that often require relaying serious information and the district's response to specific issues. Being a support to school or district leaders in these kinds of communications, while also understanding the needs of parents at home who will be reacting to these situations, provides me with intense satisfaction, especially when the right balance is struck. I am also extremely proud of the embrace that this district has given by enabling employees to use the newer forms of communication that have emerged through social media. Teachers, parapros, principals, district leaders have all contributed to the communication landscape, and with some district training and support, tell the incredible stories that happen every day in schools and classrooms. Sharing photos, videos, student work, and important documents with parents, extended family, and the broader community has been very impactful. It brings me great joy to work in a district that is committed to transparency and openness regardless of the topic. It is an honor to come to work every day and to be able to share the stories of the Franklin Special School District. When an entire school district works at the highest level of professionalism, when any door can be opened at any time without reservation, and our commitment to the students and families of the district can clearly be seen as our highest priority, that's the best feeling in the world. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Gentry?
I just want to say thank you very much for being the soothing voice behind the not so great news when you're having to pass that on to families, and the good news like snow days when you've been very, very succinct in that, and I know there's a lot of people behind you giving that guidance, but that's just enhances the level of professionalism that we have as a school board, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, Robert, I wanted to ask you a question about your packet, the virtual learning update. Can I ask you a question about that? That we had sent out a survey about that for the possibility of next year. Are we planning on that for next year, or making a plan if we have to have that next year? Can you just address that? I've had a couple parents ask me that as well. I know it's a bit of an unknown. It was in the packet this time.
Absolutely. We did send out an interest survey to parents and guardians just to gauge if we were to offer virtual learning next year, what the interest might be. And so we're actually in the process now of evaluating that data and, trying to make a call, is this something that we need to offer? Because we want to be sure that if there's a need and if our parents are interested in virtual learning, that we explore that fully.
Anything else, Dr. Decker? All right, Dr. Esslinger?
Well, in your board packet, you have our monthly construction update with these several building projects that are going on at this time in our district. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain any at this time.
No questions for Dr. Esslinger. And item number 3, ESSA 2.0.
Okay, we're going to have a presentation for you this evening to try to present to you our plan for a package of funding that's going to come to us in what we've affectionately called ESSA 2.0. ESSA 1.0 was primarily spent on technology to get us ready to go virtual. And ESSA 2.0, we're expecting a little over $1.3 million. And before we get into the details around this, we have to start with the bonus that the state is funding for us to give to our certificated staff. And as we start with the bonus conversation, we have to start with position information. So just to give a review, our district presently has 360.36 certificated instructional positions, and that includes part-time. We have 7 certificated nurses, 30 certificated administrators, for a total number of certificated positions, 397.36. Now, as you know, the BEP formula funds partial salaries for 256 of those 397 positions, leaving over 140 positions in our district that is completely locally funded by Franklin Special School District. Classified positions total 300. So as we look at all the positions in our district, it's 697.36 positions. As we make plans to provide a bonus to our certificated staff, we fell on a number of $440 just for their certificated staff. That includes our nurses, since they are a certificated position with the state. The total salary for certificated bonuses is $174,838.40. If you add the benefits to that, that's another $31,262. The total cost for bonuses then for certificated staff, $206,101. The state, through the additional funding component of the BEP, they have awarded us, or in the next, by June 30th, will have sent us $163,000 to provide those bonuses. Point being, additional funding required for all certificated staff to have a bonus of $440. Additional funding required is a little over $43,000. Now, our district has never been one to only provide bonuses for one category of staff. If we look at a classified position receiving $250, the total salary amount is $75,000 based on the 300 classified positions we have. Add the benefits to that, and the total additional funding required to award a $250 bonus per full-time position is $886,775. Those two components, the $86,775 and the $43,101, is recommended for us to come out of the ESSER 2.0 funding. You take those two numbers and add them to some additional expenses. If you recall, we paid the payroll of MAC and food and culinary services personnel during the shutdown, during a time when they had no revenue. So MAC's salary during the shutdown was a little over $199,000. Food service payroll during the shutdown was a little over $325,000. During this pandemic, we have spent over $84,000 on additional materials and supplies. That includes the copy paper we spent when we first had the shutdown. That includes additional PPE. We've kept a spreadsheet of all the funds that we have spent over and above a typical year in all facets of our district, and that is over $84,000. Dr. Decker is going to share with you the teaching and learning plan for the remainder of the $584,000, almost $585,000. All these numbers add up to be exactly $1,324,348.13. That's what we're presenting to you tonight as far as how to spend our ESSER 2.0 funds. Dr. Decker.
Thanks, Dr. Essen. So the teaching and learning allocation that we're proposing from ESSER 2.0, you can see totals a little over $584,000, and I'm going to walk you through the different items that we're proposing to allocate. The first have to do with tutorials. And ESSER 2.0 runs throughout the 2021, 22, 23 school years. So we're looking ahead to being able to provide after school and summer learning experiences for students who may have learning loss, students with special needs who require additional support, students who show lack of proficiency, or students who might need enrichment. We're covering quite a few bases there. We're looking for the after-school tutorial to allocate about $115,000. This is a cost estimate. We know that we will need to cover for after-school tutorials beginning next year, staffing, transportation, materials, and there could be other needs as well. Plans are in the early stages for after-school tutorials. We've also budgeted a little over $120,000 for a summer learning experience, and we are going to be offering summer learning camps based on the historic legislation that was passed in January. The Student Remediation and Learning Acceleration Act provides for a summer learning camp for grades 1 through 4 that we will offer, and then a learning loss bridge camp for students rising students in grades 5 through 8. Those will both be offered throughout the month of June, Monday through Thursday. And we are going to allocate these funds from ESSER 2.0 to the transportation costs for these summer learning camps, instructional materials, potentially other costs as well. We're also looking at funding curriculum with ESSER 2.0. We need funding so that we can fill the gap in curricular resources that has been caused by the reconfiguration of classrooms due to having both virtual and in-person learning. We would also like to support math resource needs in light of the delayed adoption, which will not take place until 2022-23. And we think it's important to continue to build our social emotional learning curriculum. So we're looking at allocating for additional Wonders ELA materials for grades K through 4. This is our adopted textbook. We are in the first year of implementation, a little over $115,000. And again, that need came about because we're balancing both in-person and virtual classrooms. So there's a greater need for materials than originally anticipated. We are looking to purchase an additional math intervention program for about $50,000. And then we would like to expand our implementation waiver SEL. It's being piloted this year at Poplar Grove Elementary School with excellent feedback from school counselors, teachers, and students. Waiver SEL equips students, especially those who are at risk, equips them with SEL skills, reducing bullying and discipline incidents, and helps students to problem solve and resolve conflict. Then we're also looking at funding quite a few technology pieces, which, as you know, with the advent of virtual learning and remote learning has become more and more of a necessity. So we need this funding to finish our commitment to providing one-to-one devices in all grades and the pieces that go with those devices, to ensure internet accessibility and safety nets are present for all of our students in the event of whether they're learning remotely or virtually. So as you know, this year, we are one-to-one with a device for all of our students K through 8. Our K2 students have Chrome tablets. However, the chargers are kept in charging carts, which makes a lot of sense, except in the event that we would have to quickly transition a school to remote learning. We would have to pull those chargers out very quickly. We could do it. It's not the most efficient way to make that transition, and we want to be as prepared as possible for those students to learn remotely if they need to. So we have purchased Chrome tablet chargers, charging bricks for students to keep in their device bag. They can take them home as needed, and these chargers were delivered to the 5 elementary schools on March 5th. So we are ready to transition to remote learning for them. Chrome tablet keyboards for those K2 students will make easier the use of certain digital resources for our youngest students, so we're looking to purchase those as well. As you're also aware, we have provided a hotspot to any family who requires internet connectivity. So we had a first wave of 55 hotspots that have already been purchased. We are going to use about 24,000, or we propose to use about 24,000 of ESSER 2.0 funding for 12 additional months of service for those 55 hotspots, starting this July, ending in June 2022. Then we purchased a second wave of 30 hotspots because there was more of a need. So we want to continue funding the data for those hotspots, again, through the end of June 2022. As you know, the Zoom conferencing platform has become completely indispensable to us recently, and we would like to renew that license for $25,000. GoGuardian is such an important piece of our virtual and remote learning. GoGuardian is designed to help teachers manage Chromebook usage in their classrooms and monitor student activity on the device. The goal of GoGuardian is to keep students on task, engaged, and safe, so they're not browsing sites that are inappropriate. A feature of GoGuardian that we'll be adding shortly is Beacon 24/7. It scans students' online activity, and if there is activity that suggests students are searching terms related to self-harm and or suicide, the system will create an alert that notifies the school's responders. So for $40,000 from ESSER 2.0, we will be able to fund GoGuardian and Beacon 24/7 for 2021-2022. Document cameras aren't something that is meaningless, but again, with virtual and remote learning, they become even more important as teachers leverage multiple ways to share content and resources with students in a clear, easy-to-read manner. So we budgeted just a little under $7,000 so that teachers who need new document cameras because they've recently had their laptops replaced will have them. And that is the SR 2.0 proposal.
Any questions related to ESER 2.0?
I had a question. The total that we had up there, the 1.3 million, I think you had, that we have that month, that's what we received for ESER 2.0?
That's what
Okay.
we will receive.
We will, and when will we have that by?
Do we know when? I know districts had until March 15th to submit their plan. So I guess after all the plans are approved.
And I'm assuming all the wonderful technology that we're getting, if we have fewer and fewer and fewer virtual students in the future, we will still use all of that as part of our wanting to be more technologically one-on-one anyways.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
all of that is transferable.
The plan pre-COVID was already in place to purchase those K2 devices, but the emergence of COVID kind of made that not a luxury, but a necessity to move forward. So, yeah, it was already in the plan. It just made us expedite the plan a little more rapid. Other question? Thank you, Dr. Decker and Dr. Esslinger.
All right, thank you both. Moving on, approval of consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Ms.
Second.
Bell, second, Ms. Barker. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right.
Mr. Blair, did we approve the consent agenda? Is that what you?
That was it. Oh, no, that was the board. We finna do the consent.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Townsend, second. Ms. Barker, discussion? Seeing none, we are approved. Business before the board. The first item is the Director of Schools contract extension, and we will have Mr. Townsend address that.
It's been a tough year, and every time I have a chance to speak at the school board meeting, I'd like to mention the fact that I've been thoroughly impressed, we've been thoroughly impressed with how you educators went from teaching people live to teaching people virtual just like that. There wasn't a warning. You weren't told ahead of time that's what you were going to do last year. Somehow you made it work. And I've always said I've walked past my daughter when she's on a virtual class, and I was just impressed how the teachers immediately went from, I know you're excellent live, but all of a sudden you navigated through Zoom and you taught people, and it worked. It worked. It's probably not the way you wanted to do it, but you found a way to make it work. I say that because you did that with there was no warning. There's no real warning. And so I think that is a testimony to the leadership team we have. And of course, the leader of that team, Dr. Snowden. And I say that to preface what I'm about to talk about. As you know, his contract was set to expire June 30, I'll make sure I have the right date, just had it up here. It was set to expire June 30, 2021, just a few months from now. He and I met, and I wanted to make sure he understood that the board wanted this leader to continue. We're going to find out, we're going to have a vote here and see if that's the case, but it was my job. But I wanted him to know that from what I said, I felt very clear that was something we wanted to continue. The leader through COVID, through that incredible year, and we successfully did it, we wanted to retain him for as long as we could. And so with that, I present to the board a contract extension for Dr. Snowden of an additional 2 years that would carry us through June 30, 2023. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we accept that we offer this 2-year extension to Dr. Snowden?
I'll make the motion. Accept.
I'll second it.
I think we got 2 firsts, a second, and a third.
We did.
I think we're good.
That shows the excitement about
It
this.
is. As long as Carol got that, we're okay. Carol got it? Okay, have a motion and a second. We're going to do a roll call vote on this, so I will start to my left with Ms. Bell.
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Okay. Ms. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Absolutely yes.
All right, Mr. Blair's a yes. Ms. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Stillings? Stillings is a yes. All right, you are unanimously approved for another 2 to 4 years.
What was that comment, Mr. Blair? Was that a Freudian slip?
Kind of said it a little low. I didn't know the mic was on. Thank you, sir. We certainly appreciate that.
And I don't know if Dr. Snowden's going to say anything, but as we talked about it, I could tell he too was excited about the prospect of continuing what he started. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll just thank you so much. I appreciate it. And as I told the leadership team last week when we had, or 2 weeks ago, whenever we had to send it to the media and meet the requirements of the notice, I told them that it would be on the board agenda tonight, and that one of the primary reasons that I would consider remaining is because of the work of all these individuals and those that are not here, as well as our teachers. And I mean, everybody has continued to, and Mr. Townsend alluded to it, phenomenal work during COVID. And I felt like that even though my initial thoughts back last year prior to COVID was, and I told the leadership team, my plan was to drive off into the sunset. And but to me, if you start something with a group of people, then you should be willing to finish that work around COVID especially. And so that was, and I still love what I'm doing. I have a passion for it. The good Lord has continued to bless me with good health and work with some of the greatest people, great board. Our parent community is so supportive, so I'm excited to continue our work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item of business, Dr.
Yes, Dr. Esslinger has gone over the numbers, and as we said in our February meeting, the special legislative session, the General Assembly did pass a bill for a one-time payment for all certified employees, including school nurses. Also, as we talked about in April, and Dr. Esslinger has already stated, this district has always provided an increase, whether there's a bonus or an increase in salary for our classified employees, because everyone plays an important role in this school district. No matter what your job responsibilities are, it's important. So we felt like that we could use ESSER funds and provide our classified employees an increase or a bonus, as well as the part-time classified employees. So we are needing to use some ESSER funds to increase the amount of payment that we could provide for our certified staff, and our total amount of the bonus for our classified employees. And the plan is to include this bonus payment as part of the April 20th payroll. So we recommend the board approval of this payment of the bonus for certified and classified employees.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the payment.
All right. Ms.
I'll
Newman.
second.
Ms. Newman, second Ms. Bell. You heard the report from Mr. Esslinger and Ms. Decker. Is there any other discussion? If not, let us vote. Again, we will roll call this one. Mr. Stillings?
I'm going to abstain from this vote spouse employment.
All righty. Ms. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Blair, yes. Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Ms. Newman?
Yes.
Ms. Bell?
Yes.
All right. Approved 5-0 with one abstention. Bell, thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Yes, item number 3 is pause revision charter school application 1.901. This is a second reading, and per TSBA Director of Policy and Staff Attorney, this revision updates our policy to recent legislation that changes the charter school process that was effective January 1 of this year. This moves the filing date of charter school application with the board back from what was previously required and adds an additional filing to the Department of Education. If there would be an application filed, reviewed, and denied by the district, any appeal with amendments must be filed with the Tennessee Charter School Commission instead of the State Board of Education, as was previously the case. To date, there have been no applications filed with the district. There were no changes requested by the board upon first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Mr. Townsend, is there a second? Ms. Newman, is there any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Item number 4 is a policy revision, interscholastic athletics 4.301. This is also a second reading. Updates to this policy add the Williamson Middle Athletic Association to the TSSAA for bylaws, as we use both associations for our athletics, as well as to update any references. There were no changes requested by the board upon first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
All right, thank you, sir. Motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Mr. Townsend, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Newman, any discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you, sir.
Item number 5 is policy revision, medicine 6.405. It's also a second reading. Updates to this policy add language regarding administration, assisted, and self-administration of asthma reliever inhalers and anaphylaxis medication, as well as updating references. There were no changes by the board on the first reading. The administration recommends approval of the second reading.
All right, I make a motion we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? All in favor? Approved. Dr. Snowden?
Item number 6 is policy revision, school and district goals 1.700. This is a first reading. TSBA has provided model policies regarding educator diversity following the State Board of Education's February meeting, where they adopted a policy on this topic to require local LEAs to set goals for educator diversity. TSBA recommends that boards revise their policy to reflect this responsibility. These goals must be submitted to the Tennessee Department of Education during the 2021-2022 school year. While templates of the submittal have not been issued by the TDOE as of yet, our HR department has been actively addressing this challenge through a detailed plan of recruitment to enhance our diversity to more accurately reflect our student population. The overview of this plan has been included for you in your packets with policy 5.100. We recommend approval of first reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Ms. Barker, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Townsend, second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Approved. Thank you, sir.
Item number 7, policy revision, personnel goals 5.100. It's also a first reading. Just as in 1.700, TSBA has provided model policies regarding educator diversity following State Board of Education February meeting, when they adopted a policy on this topic. While the district has been working toward this challenge, revision to this policy streamlines wording as well as adds into the policy language to set goals for educator diversity that take into consideration diversity of the student population. Please note item 7 is deleted in this revision as it is encompassed in item 2 as working environments. As already noted, a detailed plan of recruitment to enhance our diversity to more accurately reflect our student population is in practice through our HR department. The overview of this working, evolving plan was included, as I mentioned earlier. We're recommending approval of the first reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Bell? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Townsend is the second. Is there any discussion?
I just want to say I appreciate the handout that HR gave us with what we're already doing. I do wonder if, since we are adding the same sentence to this policy as we did to the one we just reviewed, if we have to have a second reading of this policy. If we can, if we want to, but I would doubt that we're going to change anything since we're reiterating the point we had before. So I was just making a suggestion that we could approve it and waive second reading, because it's not that different than what it was before, just adding the line that's required now by law to have in there. We don't have to do that, I'm just making that as a suggestion.
Okay. You got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
What?
So then we'll need to go back in.
Do you?
Did we have a motion to waive?
You want to waive it?
Approve
Well,
on first?
I'm just asking if we would like to waive second reading. If someone would want to second that, then we would.
If you're making that motion, I'll
I'm making a motion to waive second reading, as this policy is repeating what we just approved, so I don't think we need to review it again next month, I guess is what I'm saying.
And I'll second.
All right, roll it back. Original
Okay, to
motion.
clarify, I'm making a motion to waive second reading and approve on first reading.
Okay,
And I made the second.
okay. Are we good with that, or do we need to? Okay. We're good with that, then, in no more discussion, then we'll waive first reading and carry in the second. All in favor of that? Just made the motion to waive the first reading and adopt on second reading.
Waive second reading.
Waive second reading. We're good with that. All right, there we go. No third reading needed. All in favor? All in favor? All right, we are approved. Thank you, Robert. Dr. Snowden.
Item number 8 is policy revision, equal opportunity employment, 5.104. This is also a first reading. This revision updates as part of the review of the personnel policies being presented for your consideration. Revisions are to bring the policy up to date. We recommend approval of the first reading.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Townsend, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Bell, second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Approved.
Item number 9, policy revision, recruitment of personnel, 5.105. This is also a first reading. This revision is part of the review of personnel policies due to the change in State Board of Education policy adoption regarding educator diversity. Language has been added to this policy as well as bringing other items up to date. We recommend approval of the first reading.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Mr. Townsend? Second. Ms. Barker, second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Approved. Thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Item number 10, policy revision, food and culinary services management, 3.500. This is a first reading. This revision updates the policy to the new departmental name, as well as adding to policy updated district faculty and staff responsibility for payment. We are recommending approval of the first reading.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Bell, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Newman, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Approved. All right, thank you. Dr. Snowden, Director of Schools report.
Yes, going back to food and culinary services management, we still are trying to break a habit of calling child nutrition. So if you hear us say child nutrition, we know that that's not correct, but it's just becoming accustomed to using the new department name. Okay, first item under Director of Schools report is the update of monitoring of COVID-19 data spread. I know hopefully you do not get tired of me saying this, but the employees, teachers, parents, students, everyone in this district has really decided to get on board with our mitigation protocols, our safety protocols, and quite frankly, I say this often as well, I totally believe that is why we have been able to offer in-person teaching and learning for the most part this school year with very few interruptions. Now, have we had quarantines? Yes. Have we had cases? Yes. But when you look at the opportunity for our students to be in person for as many days as we've had, then it's just phenomenal. And I know I keep using that term, but it truly is. So we're so appreciative. And we'll just add this, even though the Williamson County government has lifted the mask mandate, we will continue to require the use of masks in all of our schools and our offices because we know that it has made a difference, or we strongly believe it has made a difference. Also, all of our employees that wanted to have a vaccine was afforded that opportunity for the first dose last Saturday. We had 431 employees that were vaccinated.
Awesome.
There were 14 who could not make it, but I think, I know that the health department is working with Amy Fisher to reschedule those individuals. It was a great event. The process was very smooth. Our nurses did a great job, led by Ms. Fisher. Ms. Glass was there helping. We had lots of people from the district who were there helping to make sure that the process went smoothly. But we are so appreciative to emergency management and the local health department for making this a possibility for our employees. This provides some measure of comfort, I believe, for our employees as we move forward. Now, obviously, the second dose is important, so we look forward to having that. Many of us had sore arms over the weekend, and some had a little more significant side effects, but for the most part, we've heard that the side effects were somewhat minimal. So again, it was a great day, and I cannot compliment our district employees, our families, and our students. I think I've said this before in a board meeting, we were all concerned about students and their willingness to wear a mask last summer. Would that be an issue? Our students they're great. I mean, they wear those masks. So all of those concerns that we had were not really legitimate. I guess they were legitimate at the time, but they've proven to be a non-factor as our students have stepped up just as well as our employees, our teachers, and others. Next week, the district will... any comment? Amy, you have anything to add, or Selby? Anything to add on?
I would just emphasize the partnership with the Williamson County Health Department and EMA. I mean, they were incredible and so supportive and have worked with us, and Selby, myself, every step of the way. They've just been incredible.
They also complimented, not only did they compliment and say how everyone has such a positive attitude and was so grateful that they got their shot, but those that volunteered, they just on how it was a great day for them too. I'm sure they've dealt with some negativity and people that aren't happy throughout all of this, and they truly, I lost count of how many people from the National Guard and from the health department came out and said it was just a joyful day. I mean, so it's great, and I'm appreciative of that partnership that we have in the past too. It's great.
And I know you've noticed, you get that COVID-19 update each Friday, and I know you've noticed the last 2 2 reports have been really great. And again, it goes back to all that great work and the people following our safety protocols. Young Scholars Institute, we are really excited to be able to offer Young Scholars this summer. That was something that we started discussing, I guess, and maybe even prior to the winter break, Christmas holidays. And I asked Dr. Decker and Ms. Carlton, I said, you know, our goal is to have young scholars. We want to have it safely, but if we can have it, we should move forward with that. So we are excited to be held the weeks of June the 7th and June the 14th. We will be looking at a smaller number of students, approximately between 350 and 400 students versus the larger number, just because obviously with the Poplar Grove situation, with the construction, we're moving it to FIS, and just to be in a little better position to provide these safety protocols, we've asked to limit the size of this year's Young Scholars. But I think the important thing is that we are going to have it. Any questions related to Young Scholars that you may have? Okay, the budget process for FY 21-22, proposed dates for our work sessions are April 26th, May the 17th, and June the 21st. The first session will concentrate on the operations budget for both finance and administration and teaching and learning. Revenue and personnel will be the focus on the second work session, and then the third work session will review the cumulative impact of the budget work from those first 2 sessions and hopefully facilitate the completion of the budgetary process. If you've got any issues with those dates, conflicts, please let Carol know so we can try to work on if we need to change some dates, but if those work, those are the ones that we have tentatively scheduled. Expansion of our therapy dog program. Hopefully you were able to see the article in the Williamson Herald about Maddie. Maddie, you know, Maddie was on, you know, it's good to be on the front page, but she was above the fold. So you know you have arrived when you're above the fold on the front page. So it was a great article, and we appreciate the opportunity for our community to know about Maddie and the great work she's doing. Anyway, we are announcing the addition of 2 lab puppies, whether mixed, but to our therapy dog program. A breeder is donating a female golden retriever Labrador mix, Goldador, to the Franklin Special School District, and Poplar Grove School is the beneficiary of Alma. Is that correct pronunciation? Meaning, what? Remind me again what the Spanish meaning?
Soul or nurturing.
Nurturing, okay. And then we also have a teacher at Freedom Intermediate School who has acquired a puppy from the same litter and wants to have it trained as a therapy dog. She was interested in being a handler and now wants to have it trained using the same training as the district used for Maddie Grace and have it served primarily at FIS. Obviously, it will be some time before either of these puppies can become a therapy dog. There is some initial acclimation to being around small groups of students with written parent permission, as well as adults. When those puppies reach approximately 6 months of age, they will need to pass the Canine Good Citizenship Test, which includes basic commands. And when they are a year old, they are eligible to take the therapy dog test, and if they pass, they are officially certified as a therapy dog. Going back to the individual teacher who wants to keep and train her therapy dog, we are working on a memorandum of agreement that will require her to have no less than $1 million of liability insurance for that work, as well as she will have to adhere to the same training or follow the same training as Maddie and as the therapy dog from Poplar Grove. So we're excited that we're able to expand that program. We think it's good for our students primarily, and it's And if you listen to the adults who are around Maddie, they'll say Maddie's good therapy for them as well. Any questions regarding that? Okay, and you have an update of conferences and meetings, so that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Teaching and learning?
Nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Finance administration?
Your packet has our typical monthly reports from HR and for our financials. If you'll take a look at the sales tax report, it is up 9.7% for the same time period last year, which is always a good thing.
Thank you, sir. Any comments, board members?
I have a comment. It's not lost on me that this time last year, around spring break, was when COVID was kind of up and we were moving in the direction. And I remember a lot of the teachers and administration not having spring break because they were moving us into a readiness posture for our school to be on the forefront of embracing this. And I just wanted to say thank you. And as we look back over a year, I just think that things that we did and the sacrifices you made are a big part of the reason why it's been a successful year, if you can say that, in a pandemic. And so just wanted to thank you.
Any other comments?
I want to just mention that when I'm out in the community and where I work, I run into a lot of parents that have students in the FSSD, and I cannot tell you how many comments I have heard thanking us that we have in-person learning. And obviously some people are doing virtual, but a lot of parents I work with or meet are working parents, and some of them work in Nashville, and they know people whose kids have not gone back to school at all. And that's not making a statement about that district. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they can, but I'm just so thankful for everybody and Dr. Snowden, as we've all said, that are getting through this year with a lot of in-person learning. And I know that the parents, at least that I run into, and I of course appreciate it as well, that we've been able to offer that to our students. And it makes me sad for students who haven't had a chance at all, but I'm just so grateful that we've worked it out. And it's been because you guys have worked it out, because it's been a lot of work. And I'm sure, but parents tell me when I meet them, and then they find out I'm on the board, which I don't always, make that something of a conversation, but somehow it comes up, and I have not heard one negative thing at all from anyone that I've run into about this school year. And that says a lot, because it's been a crazy year.
Wow.
Mr. Townsend?
I just want to say one thing. We talked about it last time in February about Black History Month. But since that meeting, we had more activity. We had Snow Week, which kind of lost some time, and so some things are even going to go into March. But I got to tell you that I've really enjoyed getting a chance to go to hang out with Dr. Farmer, and then I think some of you know that Dr. Treadway and I don't want to jinx it, could be up for an Oscar. We filmed a couple of spots that were pretty impressive. Dr. Erickson, I finally got yours in the very last day, and she still used it, so I enjoyed that. And then also, I just want to say, again, you, Patton, and folks at Liberty, what a Black History Month you did too. I got over there a couple times and was blown away, and not just by what I did, but I was blown away by what the school did as well. So I just want to say,
I think you said enough.
It was an excellent month, and I hope to hit all the schools next year.
Any other comments? Any board members? Again, thank you, Dr. Snowden. We certainly look forward to working with you, so we are excited and pleased that we get to go forward. If there's nothing else for the good of the district, we are adjourned.
He took off, but I was going to say we need to take a picture.
Oh, no, he ain't taking no pictures. He ain't taking no pictures.